So good morning students, welcome to your commerce class. As today we will start our next chapter, that is nature and scope of foreign trade. So in this chapter we are going to discuss that its meaning and definition, or we can say that meaning and definition of foreign trade, then types or kinds of foreign trade, then its characteristics, then we will differentiate between the home trade and foreign trade. After that we will discuss its advantages or merits of foreign trade, and the last topic, that is disadvantages or demerits of foreign trade. So first of all we will discuss some key terms. So first one is that international trade, as international trade is also called as foreign trade. So for example, like India imports goods from the USA or Europe and other countries and export these goods to its neighboring countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So this is called as an international trade. International trade is a trade which is conducted between two or more countries. So next one is that international trade is a trade which is conducted between two or more countries. Like India exports tea, jute and spices. USA exports computers and cine movies. Likewise, UK exports steel. Germany exports printing presses and luxury cars. Likewise, Japan exports automobiles. So these are the examples of international trade. Then next one is that import, or we can say that import trade. So imports, like for example, India imports oil from Kuwait. India also imports powerful weapons from the USA for defense. India also imports like luxury cars from Germany. So it means that imports involve buying goods and services from a foreign country. Next one is export. So export, like for example, India most famous goods for export are like tea, jute and spices. India exports tea to the England. So export means that it involves selling goods and services to the foreign countries. That is called as the export trade. So next one is entrepot trade. So for example, like India may import oil from Iraq and export a part of it to Bhutan. So this is an example of entrepot trade. Like when one country purchases goods from abroad for the purpose of sale to some other country. So that is called as a entrepot trade. It involves both import and export of goods. When goods are imported with a view to re-export them, it is known as entrepot trade. So now we will start our topic, that is international trade or a foreign trade. So like for examples, as we had discussed, that India exports tea, jute and spices and other agricultural products to the other countries. Means foreign trade refers to the trade performed across boundaries of a country. In other words, we can say that when trade is done between two traders of different countries, it is called as international trade or foreign trade. So international trade is the exchange of capital, goods and services across international borders or territories because there is a need or want of goods or services. So that is why foreign trade is important. So now we will discuss the definition of foreign trade. So international trade or foreign trade means the trade which is spread beyond the boundaries of a country, and this definition is given by a Stephenson. Next one is that foreign or international trade is a trade between various nations. So these are the definitions that are included in the foreign trade. So next we will discuss the types or kinds of foreign trade. So there are three kinds or types of foreign trade, that are, first one is import trade, then export trade, and third one is entrepot trade. So first one is like imports or import trade. For example, like buying of oil by India from Kuwait is an example of import. US imports oil from Canada. Likewise, cars from Japan and Germany, large variety of products from China. So these are the examples of imports. Means when a trader of one country purchases goods from the traders of other countries, it is called as import or import trade. Next one is exports. So for example, like if factory A in Japan sells computer components to the company in China, that means that factory A is exporting. Likewise, India's most famous products or goods for exports are like tea, jute and spices. So when a trader of one country sells goods to the traders of other countries, it is called as export or export trade. So third type is entrepot trade. For example, like India may import oil from Iraq and export a part of it to Bhutan. So the best example of entrepot trade is Singapore. So it means that when a trader purchases goods from one country and sells the same goods to another country, or you may say when goods are imported with a view to re-export them, that is called as entrepot trade. So next we will discuss the characteristics of foreign trade. So there are various characteristics, like first one is exchange of goods, then number of documents involved, third one is government, fourth one is currency, then chain of middlemen, international rules and regulations, competition at international level. So these are the characteristics that are included in the foreign trade. So first one is exchange of goods. For example, like India imported machinery from the USA and exported precious stones and gems to America. So this is called as the exchange of goods. Foreign trade means that it involves purchase of goods from other countries or sale of goods to the other countries. Second one is number of documents involved. For example, like shipping bill, import or export invoice, export license. These are the documents that are needed or that are required for the international business. So for international trade, a large number of documents are required for fulfilling certain formalities. Then next one is government control. So yes, every country has certain rules and regulations that are made by the government. So to exercise control over imports and exports in interest of the nation. Next one is currency. For example, like $1 has a rupees is equals to 75. Means $1 has a equalize with the Indian currency as rupees 75. So generally the currencies of importing and exporting countries are different. So hence it is a need to find out a mutual acceptable currency. Usually dollars and pounds sterling are selected for foreign trade as they are acceptable all over the world. Next one is chain of middlemen. So the services of expert middlemen such as an indent houses, clearing agents, forwarding agents, then foreign exchange banks. So these are the middlemen that are required for foreign trade, as the procedure of foreign trade is very long and complex. So it is not possible for buyers and sellers to perform all the formalities themselves. So that is why they are in need of middlemen. Next one is international rules and regulations. So businessmen engaged in international trade requires knowledge of international laws and trade restrictions. Then next one is competition at international level. So for example, like India, USA, Australia, Canada. These are the countries that are competing with each other and related to their products. So there is a greater competition in international trade as producers from different countries compete with one another to sell their products in market. So parties related to the different countries, like in international trade, sellers and buyers belongs to the different countries. They are less chances to meet one another while trading. Hence, they have to depend upon middlemen for transactions. So that is why there is a competition that is high in the international trade. So next we will discuss the difference between home trade and foreign trade. So first one is that geographical limits. So in the home trade or international or internal trade, that it is carried on within the boundaries of one country. But on the other hand, foreign trade or external trade is carried on across the boundaries of one country. Then second one is countries involved. So in the home trade, only one country is involved in this business. But in the foreign trade, there are minimum 2 countries are involved while exchanging their goods and services. Then next one is risk. So in the home trade, there is a less degree of risk is involved while trading the goods and services. On the other hand, in the foreign trade, there is a high degree of risk is involved. Next one is currency used. So in the home trade, payments are made and received in home currency only. But in the foreign trade, payments are made and received in foreign currency only. Then procedure involved. So in the home trade, no long procedures or formalities to be completed before starting the trading between the various states. But in the foreign trade, we can say that there is a long procedures and many formalities are to be completed before starting the foreign trade. Then next one is mode of payment. So yes, in the home trade, payments are made by cash or check, but in the foreign trade, payments are made through the bills of exchange or with the help of or through banks. Next one is legal rules and regulations. So in the home trade, national laws, rules and regulations are applicable, but in the foreign trade, international rules and regulations are applicable. Then next one is mode of transport. So in the home trade, it uses road and rail transport, but in the foreign trade, it uses sea and air transport. Then next one is choice. So in the home trade, traders have a wide choice of goods in internal trade, but in the external trade, they cannot take place in all commodities. So that is the disadvantage that the foreign trade has. Next one is license. So in home trade, generally there is no license that is needed for internal trade, but in the external trade, license is needed in case of goods which cannot be freely imported or exported. Next one is people involved. So in the home trade, people involved in the internal trade are the citizens of the same country, but on the other hand, in the foreign trade, peoples involved in the external trade are the citizens of two or more countries. Then there is a middleman. So in internal trade it is easy to eliminate middleman, but in the external trade middleman cannot be fully eliminated. Next one is time gap. So in internal trade, time gap between placing the order and receiving the goods is less because it is done in one country. On the other hand, in the external trade, time gap between placing the order and receiving the goods is large. Next one is language for communication. So in internal trade, local language is used by the persons that are involved, but in the external trade, foreign language is used for communication between buyers and the seller. Last one is political relations. So in home trade, political relations between different countries do not affect the internal trade, but in external trade, political relations has considerably affected the trade between the various countries. So these are the bases of differences that are provided as a differentiation in the home trade and foreign trade. Next we will discuss the advantages of international trade or a foreign trade. So there are various advantages like optimum use of scarce resources, then economies of scale, availability of wide market, generation of employment, high standard of living, increase in government revenues, international brotherhood. So these are the examples, or we can say that these are the points that are included in the advantages of international trade. So first of all we will discuss the advantages in detail. So first point is foreign exchange. For example, like America today is the most developed country. All the credit goes to the international trade business of America. So a country is able to earn valuable foreign exchange by exporting its goods to the other countries. With the help of this foreign exchange, it can purchase goods of its need from the other countries. Next one is help during natural calamities. So natural calamities like earthquakes, floods, drought. So these are overcome by importing the required necessities from the other countries. So this is done by the international trade. Next one is specialization of labor. So for example, like as India is specialized in agricultural products, spices, precious stones and gems, handmade material. So and exporting these products to the other countries, that means we are increasing our resources of foreign exchange and specialization that we get in our products. So international business has forced the countries to minimize the cost of production of its goods, and this is done by specializing in few products. So it has resulted in labor specialization. So due to this, quality goods are available in the international markets at very reasonable rates. Next one is benefits to consumers. So for example, like electronic products like mobile phones, refrigerators, washing machines, laptops, computers, these are being sold at affordable prices because of international trade. So consumers of various countries also benefit from international business. A variety of goods of better quality are available them at reasonable prices. They have good scope of choice of products, and it has lead to increase in the standard of living of those people. Next one is increase in government income. So the government imposes duties on imports and exports. So this way the government is able to earn a lots of revenue from the international trade, and this is spent on various other plans. Next one is cultural development. So for example, like in India, we can see the changes in the eating habits of people, like pizza, burgers, packed food are more in demand. Through international business, people of different countries have come in contact with each other. They are learning about the different cultures that are prevailing in the different countries. So better way of life, dress, diet can be adopted from others. Next one is encouragement to industrialization. So for example, like iron and steel, textiles, jute, sugar, cement and paper. These all are the things that are encouraging industrialization. So industrial development of a country largely depends upon the international trade. International business creates demand, provides equipment and technical know-how for the development of the industries. Next one is international cooperation. So international business improves international cooperation. Different countries get better quality goods from others and supply to them their own. So it creates dependence on each other, improves mutual confidence, good faith and international peace. Then next one is export of excess production. So for example, like Punjab specialization, or the Punjab is specialized in agricultural products, and these are exported to the other countries, while heavy machinery is imported from the other countries. So this is called as a foreign trade or export of excess production. So every country tries to manufacture those products in which it has got specialization. The excess production of these products is exported to the other countries and needed goods are imported. So with the help of foreign trade, a country can consume such goods which cannot be produced by it. So next one is more profits. For example, when India exports agricultural products, that means India is earning foreign money in way of profits. So more profits can be earned in foreign trade as compared to the inland trade. With the increase in the scale of production, the profits are increasing. Moreover, a trader gets a choice to sell his products wherever the prices are higher. Next one is availability of all types of goods. So for example, like now we see that in each and every country, goods from groceries to electronics, small machines to the heavy automobiles are easily available due to foreign trade. So all types of goods can be easily available very easily from other countries which are not available in home country. Last one is that others, means the other advantages that are provided by the foreign trade. So apart from the above advantages, the foreign trade has some more benefits, like that it helps in improvement in the standard of living of the people of the country. Then availability of business education, exchange of political views, improvement in production system, then elimination of monopolies. So these are the other benefits that the foreign trade provided in the countries. Next we will discuss the disadvantages of international trade. So like restricted growth of home countries, misuse of natural resources, import of harmful goods, then rivalry among nations, cultural invasion, adverse effect on weak economies and economic dependence. These are the disadvantages that the international trade has. So first one is foreign competition. For example, like Indian products have to compete with Chinese products or with other MNCs like Coke, PepsiCo, Nestle. So the countries producing similar types of goods have to compete with each other in the international market. developing countries face these problems as they are unable to compete with developed countries. Next one is exploitation. So for example, like most of the developed countries like USA, UK, Canada produce their products by using resources like land, labor, money, natural resources of underdeveloped and developing countries like India, Bhutan. So because of less rates, easy availability and weak laws, and sell products all over the world to earn profits, and this leads to the exploitation of underdeveloped and developing nations. So all the countries are dependent on each other in the international business. There is no country in the world which can meet all its requirements on its own. So this dependence leads to the exploitation of developing and underdeveloped countries. Next one is bad effects on economy. So for example, like COVID-19, the disease that occurred in China, but now each and every country faces this problem. So one country affects the economy of other countries through international business. Then next point is shortage of business or shortage of goods in country. So for example, like Indian people always face the problem of increase in prices of goods like onions, potatoes, because the suppliers sell these goods to the other countries in large quantity and less is available in our country. So ultimately prices are raised to fulfill the demand. So at times, to earn more profits, the traders prefer to sell their goods to other countries rather than inside their own country. So that is another disadvantage that is provided by the foreign trade. Next one is fear of dumping. So for example, like Indian companies are facing stiff competition from Chinese products, and most of the small sector Indian companies are closed because they are not able to face competition with the Chinese companies. So the developed countries start selling their products at very low prices. As a result, the industries in developing countries close down, and after that they start charging high prices. So these are the another disadvantages that are provided by the foreign trade. So next one is publicity of uncommon fashions. So it is a basic human nature that a man get easily attracted towards bad than good things. So there are so many goods which are not suitable to our atmosphere, culture or tradition, but these are copied from the Western countries. So this is creating danger in Indian culture and civilization. Next one is loss to agricultural countries. So agriculture is the main occupation of underdeveloped countries. So these countries have to sell their goods to others in less prices because of lack of bargaining power in the foreign market. Next one is incentive to colonization. So international business encourages colonization. The developed countries always try to grab and rule over the underdeveloped countries, and foreign trade is a tool for doing that. Next one is mutual dependence. Like for example, COVID-19. The dependence in trade on other countries sometimes creates serious problems. And the last one of the disadvantages of foreign trade is import of harmful goods. So for example, import of artificial or fake drugs, luxuries goods may cause harm to the well-being of the people. So excess export of essential commodities may result in shortage of these commodities in the native country, and people suffer due to inflation. So this is all about today's topic. So now you have to do a homework. So your first question is, what is meant by international business? Discuss its chief characteristics. Second question is that explain the differences between internal and external trade. Then third question is discuss the difficulties that are included in foreign trade. So these are the questions that you have to write the answers in your fair copies. So go through the various YouTube links so that you can get the better knowledge of these topics and you can write the answer of these questions.